So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Frank Meyer.
And I'm Dino Everett, and we're from the Streetwalkin Cheetahs.
we're gonna ask them some questions today. I'm gonna start. So what inspired you guys to start the band, and what does the band name mean?
The band name comes from a song by Iggy and the Stooges, which was Iggy Pop's, original sort of pre-proto-punk band. And they had a song called Search and Destroy, and the opening line was, "I'm a street-walking cheetah with a heart full of napalm." And when we started the band, Dino and I were just kind of looking to play kind of obscure punk songs and songs we loved, garage rock songs and stuff by bands like the Stooges and the MC5. And that was one of the first songs we played. So at the time, when we were leaning on all this punk rock material, we were like, yeah, we'll be the Streetwalkin Cheetahs because we do a lot of Stooges songs. Little did we know that name, 25 years later, we'd still be having that name. And really, we don't sound anything like the Stooges at all anymore, but that sort of was like our sort of beginning, that's kind of how we started, was doing that sound.
Okay.
That's fair.
And then how'd you guys meet up?
Mm-hmm.
Dino, how do we meet up? We met up in your video store, you and me.
Yeah, I used to manage a video store in Studio City, California, and Frank was one of the customers, and he must have had a Stooges shirt on or something. And so we got to talking one day, and we had both been in bands in the 80s and sort of grown a little disillusioned with the music scene. And so we said, let's get together and just do a cover band, just play all the songs we really like, just to have some fun, instead of when you're in a band struggling for work, takes some of the fun out of it sometimes. And playing the covers was just a blast. And then, of course, that's the one that finally clicked.
Yeah. All right.
Solid. All right. So congratulations on your newest release, One More Drink. How do you feel the response to the album so far? Of course, yeah.
Well, I think Dino and I are such cynics that we keep waiting for some critic, and I'm sure it's going to come, especially now that I'm putting this out there, to just go this album is garbage. But so far the reviews, because that happens. And when we first started off, we were so excited when our first records and EPs came out, and half the press liked it and half the press was like, these guys are amateurs. This is terrible. This is bull. And, so all these years later, we feel like we've gotten better, but we keep waiting for someone to just gut punch us with a really, really terrible review. So far, it hasn't happened. We really like this record. I think we were lucky because we wrote it over a few years, and so we really could pick the best songs. It's not like we just wrote 10 songs or 11 songs. We wrote 30 songs and then just skinnied it down. They made demos for everything and just sort of slowly sat with them, and then just went, okay, these ones will make a really cohesive album.
Yeah.
And I think we one of the things that happens with bands is you get kind of pigeonholed into a sound, and people know the Cheetahs as this high energy, full throttle rock and roll band. And so the first album in 20 years, in theory, you would expect just more of the same, but we're far more multidimensional than just sort of that one aspect. And so with this album, and I think this is why we keep waiting for the bad review, is because we tried to indulge all our influences on this album and show our pop side and our rock side.
And I think the difference too is, even on the early records, we would attempt to do these pop songs, but they just never quite worked as well as when we just did these full throttle chainsaw sort of motorheady Dead Boy sounding punk songs. And we didn't quite figure out how to make that side of our sound work for a little while. Mm-hmm. And now on this record, I feel we really kind of the power pop stuff, that sort of 70s cheap, tricky power pop stuff really fits right in with the sort of motorheady, Dead Boys-y, Stooges-y punk stuff. And now, instead of any of it feeling oddball, it's just our sound now. We've just expanded what we do. We're better at it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Awesome, yeah.
Well, I mean, having almost 20 years in between
My God,
releases.
You'd think we'd be better. If you hadn't been, it'd be what have you guys been doing? It sounds like the last record. What, you idiots?
There's no change here at all. Then that's when you get the bad reviews.
Yeah, right, exactly. Although, who knows? Someone out there is going to be no, I was a Streetwalkin Cheetahs fan when they were pure punk rock. And we'd be like, no, but the first record had, and no.
Nah.
I'll tell you
Trust
what you
me.
sounded like. Yeah,
Exactly.
Trust me, I know what you sounded like.
Exactly.
And I always like to point out that when the Replacements put out Hootenanny, everyone hated it because it was all over the place.
Mhm.
Now it's like, you know, the Replacements can do no wrong. But back in the day, because they veered away from Sorry Ma put out the trash, you know, everybody hated it. And then they grew to love it.
Yeah.
You can tell what music nerds we are. We just talk about albums all day long. Like Dino and I have known each other for like you know, over a quarter century, and we still get together and we're like, do you have that Hanoi Rocks record from 1982? And like the one guy like isn't, and he plays the solo, and he's like, yeah, of course.
Oh,
I
you mean
have
with the one with the special one-sided 45?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got that too. Cool.
Amazing.
All right. So as we've brought up, this is the first record in almost 20 years or more than that.
Mojo.
There's
Oh,
Mojo.
hi, Mojo.
What made you
Mojo.
guys like come back together and make another album?
I mean, we were essentially, what happened is we didn't break up because we like had some huge falling out. It's just we were doing it for a long time, and things just kind of were like the same for a long time. Like we kept getting all these. Every time we put out a record, it'd be like, these guys are going to be huge, and then like another record. No, just wait, they're going to be huge. And it was like 5 records later, and we were like, is this ever going to happen?
Yeah.
And we were playing like the same clubs and bands and just kind of eating shit all the time. And you know, you can only be like critically acclaimed before you can't like pay your bills, before you start to reanalyze your like game plan.
Mhm.
So we all stayed friends and even played in other bands together. But about a decade went by, and we were pals with Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys, and he
Mhm.
was doing a tour of the West Coast, and he kind of just was, you know, asked us, "You guys want to come out there and be my backing band, and then also be the support band?" Because that used to be something we would do a lot with people like Wayne Kramer and Sylvain, and all these cult rock heroes that we liked.
Yeah.
MC5, the New York Dolls. So anyway, so we did this one-off tour, and we had a blast, and we just never stopped after that. We just kept playing, and we were writing songs along the way, and some of them we were playing live, and some of them were just demos, and just eventually we kind of just finally got off our ass and went to the studio.
Okay.
That's fair. All right. So what made you choose We Are the Ones for your lead single for this album? Because it's been about 20 years since you guys have dropped a new single. So what made you choose this one?
Well, there's 2 things. One was that we were definitely leaning in this 80s direction with that song, and Dino and I are like big movie nerds, and like I think we wrote a song that we were kind of thinking like, wouldn't this be cool to be like the kind of song you'd see in a John Hughes movie, like, you know, like The Breakfast Club, or
Mhm.
you know, or what's the other one? Do you know what's the other Molly Ringwald John Hughes movie I'm thinking of? Pretty in Pink, or yeah, like, you know, like one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
And so we were, you know, we wanted it to sort of have that vibe of like psychedelic furs or 80s
Yeah.
K-rock sort of thing, you know. At the same time, we also, because we're both such music nerds, there was a record store in the Valley we used to hang out with. The Valley is, you know, where all the 80s stuff sort of started.
Mhm.
And we both knew the owners, and I dated the daughter, and there's sort of a long story there. But like the woman who owned it, her and her daughter had this cat named Master Minou, and she was French, and that means like king of the cats, master of the cats
Oh my
in
God.
French. And so at the end of the song, you hear me and Dino going, Minou, 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 and that's us calling the cat.
Yeah.
So we basically wrote a song about a record store and a girl I dated and her cat. And she loved 80s music and we loved 80s music. So we wanted to have this sort of 80s vibe.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
So yeah, you can, at the end of the song, you can hear us calling the cat in French.
Minou.
Minou, Minou, Minou.
I love that.
Because she used to walk around and go, Minou, 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 Master Minou.
Mhm.
I love it. So you guys also did a music video for that single. Can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind that?
It's just puppets and drugs and complete madness.
Yeah, I noticed the drugs, and I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
expect it.
We love the Muppet Show and Pee-wee's Playhouse and all those, you know, sort of like puppet show kid shows, but they're sort of for adults too. And so and because the song had this 80s vibe, and we just decided to make this whole sort of weird art, like trippy, psychedelic, like drug influenced puppet show, really.
I mean, it's the classic video game characters, you know, with the reimagining of their storylines, that like Pac-Man was really after drugs, and
yeah, Donkey Kong and Mario were fighting over the princess and like a love triangle, and that like a bunch of the space heroes, you know, from like Space Invaders and Robotron and Asteroids all formed like a rap super group. And, you know, they're just like, we just sort of had all these little ideas that we shot, you know, where you're seeing like sort of like heroes together, video game characters in weird contexts, or characters from different video games together, you know, and we just wanted it to be like a weird puppet mashup for adults, for very strange adults.
So just make the weirdest shit possible was like your mindset going into this.
I mean, it was COVID too. We had nothing else to do but play with puppets.
That's fair, yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
It was definitely interesting. It caught my attention as soon as like there was a puppet doing drugs, and I was like, whoa. I missed some chapters.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was cool.
Well, so we did so there's another song on the record called One More Drink, and it has John Easdale from the 80s band Dramarama. Like I said, there's sort of an 80s theme on this record. And so we basically, it's coming out in like a week, but I'll just tell you. So basically the idea of the song is about drinking and drinking too much, and we're all familiar with that. And so the idea of the video was we're going to get together and perform it, but that we would be just drinking so much that we just couldn't even make our way through the own lip sync of our own video. And we just start sort of fighting and passing out and vomiting, and it just becomes like a shit show. And what was so great about it, though, is I said to all the guys in the band, and I only said it, what was it, a week and a half or two? It was not that long. I said, hey, you guys, we're going to shoot this video, and I've got an idea, and there's going to be a drinking theme. Everyone just collect your beer and alcohol and wine bottles that you would just have around the house, bring them to the rehearsal studio. And I wanted there to be an unbelievable amount, but I also was like, who knows, whatever. If we could just get 30, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We had 3 trash cans full. I was never prouder of my boy. I was never prouder of my band than this. They walked in with just satchels full of alcohol and huge bottles and novelty bottles and just fucking like unbelievable. And each time they walk in, like our drummer walked in, he laid down a sack, and I was like, damn. And he's like, hold on. And he went outside, brought another sack. He's like, there's more, and a box. I was like, whoa. And I was sitting there at the end. I was like, you guys have never been prouder. I've just got something in my eye.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, you know.
Crazy. What was the cleanup like for that? If there's so many like bottles.
I don't know. We were pretty drunk by then. Did we clean up, do you know?
That's what you pay for, right, at a rehearsal studio.
Yeah, we had PAs. No, of course we cleaned up. No, most of them, they were empty for the most part.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, like you had to set them up gingerly, and at the end we were like, you know,
yeah.
Throw them in the trash, boys. Get the hell out of here.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So is there any meaning behind the album name or cover art?
Dino?
Well, I mean, the album name One More Drink, he just kind of explained that it was, you know, we've all been there. You've had too much to drink and everything. And the album cover, I was just trying to think of, you know, there's lots of album covers with like the guys sitting at the bar and things like that. And so we were trying to think of a way to imply that we're in a bar without it just being the standard. And so I thought, let's just, you know, we're at the jukebox. And then of course we thought, well, why don't we're all kind of older and not so attractive. So why not have a really attractive young lady being at the jukebox instead? So, and then that way we could use the back cover would be, you know, the song titles on the jukebox.
Okay.
And then the shot in the bar, you kind of see her in the background. So it's all sort of connected. It's almost like we're at the bar drinking. She goes to the bar. We happen to be on the jukebox. Because, of course, we would only drink at a bar that we're on the jukebox at. That's really what we're implying. Is that if you want us to drink in your bar, you better put us damn well on the jukebox.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
But then we also, we hid like some of our favorite songs on the back cover. To the right of the listing of the tracks on the album, there's like supposedly the other songs on the jukebox, and we kind of hid in there what our ideal singles would have been from all these different bands.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this album?
You know, at this point,
Frank is a machine.
well, I write a lot of songs, and I write a lot of songs in a lot of different directions, and so they're not necessarily always hard rock and roll, punk rock stuff. But when I do, I would always sort of earmark them for the Cheetahs. But beyond that, I have a home studio, and our guitarist Bruce Duff has a home studio, and Dino lives right down the street from me, and our drummer, and so does our sax player, and then our drummer lives right down the street from Bruce. So usually the way that we kind of get songs up and running is whether an idea is coming from me or from Bruce or something we worked out in a rehearsal studio. We usually record a demo of some sort in GarageBand or Pro Tools or whatever. We are all producers essentially too. So the whole album was already demoed. Like we had made it, pretty complete, almost identical to the end recording demo of every single song, and we had that for 30 songs. So we had completed, fully realized demos of all these songs, and then just kind of sat back and chose the best songs. So that was really the writing process. A couple of them were written out of ideas in rehearsal, a couple of them were songs that I had, a couple of them were songs Dino had, a couple of them were songs Bruce. Everyone sort of brought stuff to the table, but in the end we just decided that the rule was best songs win. It doesn't matter who wrote them, we'll just pick the best songs. If it's a punk song, then it should be the best punk song that we got of the batch. If it's going to be sort of a hard rock song or a power pop song, like we had a bunch of choices, it has to be the best one,
All right, makes sense.
Will those other songs ever see the light of day?
Probably. At this point, I feel like we had a really good time making this record, and especially if I don't know what touring's going to be like over this next year. I mean, it's been off the table for the last year, but maybe it's starting to be back on the table. But it's still, even if you book now, you're going to be booking for like 3 months from now.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I'm just saying, for a band like us, I don't know what touring is really going to be like. And if we find that live stuff is somewhat limited for a while, it might be easier to just jump back in the studio and make another record. And we certainly got a bunch of songs. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you go back to the 70s, a lot of the bands, they were pushing them. They had to every 6 months crank out another album. And I think thankfully that's one of the things that's not really a problem for us as a band. If there was labels that wanted to put them out, okay, yeah, every 6 months you want a Cheetahs album, we could do that.
Yeah, we have the songs, it's just sort of us again choosing between the other batch of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, because since we recorded these, we've written a bunch more. So,
Wow. Always got songs.
Exactly.
Songs, baby. It's all about songs. It's the only, and honestly, it's the only way in show business, quote unquote, that a musician makes any money. I mean, you might, if you're the kind of musician playing gigs like a cover band or, doing like sort of, patio gigs, you might get like some, cash at the end of the night kind of gig. But beyond, and then if you're in a real touring band, you're making money, but you're spending money to be on the road. So you're lucky if you come home with any real money. And the way that most musicians, who aren't hugely successful make money is off of publishing, i.e. licensing and sync, meaning getting your songs in TV commercials and and movies and soundtracks, and because streaming doesn't pay anything, Spotify doesn't pay anything. It's cool to get that stuff, but it doesn't put money in your pocket. Bandcamp does, selling merch at the merch table at your shows does, live shows. So for a band like us, if we kind of have to like either be playing live or we've got get creative with how we can make money. So for us, like making songs that we can get out there and get placed, and then selling our stuff on Bandcamp, that's all you can do now.
Yeah.
Let's just say thank God for reality TV.
Yeah, because we gotten a lot of songs like in that stuff over the years, and that stuff we have publishing on that, and like we still get paid on that stuff. And honestly, you can take all the gigs you want, it does not equal what you get paid off of a few songs in the right TV commercial or reality TV or MTV. Like you watch those MTV shows and they're just every 4 seconds it changes music. It's like those are all music cues guys like us get paid on. What I mean? So like the less they use it, the less you get paid. The more they use it, the blah blah blah. There's different tiers, but like you get enough of that stuff out there. We have hundreds of songs now. So a lot of them are out there. That's the way that musicians make money now. And it's funny because when I grew up and when Dino grew up, like for punk rockers and like true metal, you know, everyone was like, dude, if you're like on TV, like on a soundtrack or a TV commercial, you're totally selling out.
Exactly.
And like that, like it was a sellout. Now all of a sudden you're like, please, I would love to be in a Target commercial so much. Oh my God, I could pay my rent forever.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean,
you can go back to Iggy Pop again for the sort of clarification of that, where somebody approached him and said, you know, what do you think about like your song being used in a Nike ad? And he was like, you know, I don't care if they use it to sell, you know, napkins or peanut butter or whatever. They weren't written for that purpose. So if they want to use it for that purpose, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is that we've interviewed a lot of artists and not a single one has brought up the fact of like selling or like putting your music out there into like the soundtracks and put it on TV and stuff to make money. And most of the people we talk to are in like some sort of DIY space. And I don't even know if that's something that crosses their mind.
Yeah.
Well, we're in a DIY space as well, but at the same time, we've also been doing this for a long time. And so we've seen a lot of different degrees of success. Don't get me wrong. We've never been Aerosmith or some huge rock band or so, you know, we're never Green Day or anything, you know, some crossover band, no doubt. We're always sort of a cult band with a cult following. However, you know, we've been on a bunch of different record labels over the years. So we've seen and read many different record contracts and publishing deals, and we have our own publishing and we control our own publishing, and we know exactly what our band is worth in a live situation and to a licensing, you know, house or a sync company or publishing deal, and we know kind of how that all works. So, you know, our operation is DIY in that we make our own music, we control all the digital rights, we find essentially a independent record label that's putting out vinyl and CD because we want to have retail presence. We want our shit to be like in the stores too. You know, I want you to be able to get the vinyl. I want to get to be like colored vinyl and dope vinyl. So we always try to team up with someone that's doing that, and then they basically put that out. We get some copies that we can sell and move at our merch table and blah, 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 on Bandcamp and stuff. And then we've kind of got all those things set up. And then as we're writing our songs, of course, you're just trying to write good songs, but we've also worked with all these licensing agencies. So we know we've written a good, catchy song. We'll for sure send it to people and be like, hey, man, can you guys use this and place this? And we've had enough success doing that where it's a good thing to do, but it's not why you do it, but you'd be an idiot not to do it. Yeah. I mean, why would you not, you know, you write the songs you write, but then why would you not try to make the money you can make off that? No one's DIY. You know what I mean? Like no one plays music and sells it to not sell records. Yeah. No one wants to not succeed. Yeah. Every single person that's putting out music and playing wants to succeed, or why the fuck would you do it? Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on your thing, but
oh no, you can.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you're showing up on a stage somewhere, you want people to show up. If you're making music, you want people to hear it. If someone's going to pay for it, don't you want to at least ask for that money? Or
exactly.
Who just goes like, no, you can just take all the money. I don't even know who makes the money. No, don't be an idiot. Ask who makes the money. Take your share. Yeah. Make that share as much as you can. You know why? And don't, you know, you don't make decisions, but you don't like write songs thinking they might sell more. But on the other hand, I'll tell you this: if someone pays me to write a song, I'll write whatever the fucking song you want.
Exactly. Why not?
Know what I mean? Like people come to me and all the time, and I write songs with people, and it's just like, yeah, you want to write a country song? Like, you know, give me publishing on it or give me some money. Fuck yeah, let's write a country song. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we've done hip hop beats and, you know, all sorts of stuff that's out of our comfort zone. Maybe not always as the Streetwalkin Cheetahs, sometimes as solo musicians. But like we're musicians. This is what we do for a living. If you're not paying, I'm going to do what I want to do. If you're paying me, it's a gig.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, man. Then you're the client, you know. And if I don't want the gig, if I don't feel comfortable, I won't take the money. But if I'm taking your money, what do you want, sir?
Yeah.
Especially because, like, I mean, over the years, the sort of music industry has changed drastically. You know, when we were little kids, there were these big record companies, and they would invest millions of dollars into an act.
Yeah, they pay the rent and
yeah, and I mean now it's like you could have like 1 million sort of plays on Spotify or something, and you'll make probably $10.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah.
right. So that's why you got to find every avenue you can. So the smart indie bands are doing Bandcamp. You know what I mean? Because you can actually make money off that.
Yeah.
And they're making some actual, whether it's a, cassette, or whether it's a hard drive they're selling, or whether it's vinyl. I mean, I've seen it all. I mean, I've seen people literally sell like robot hard drives at shows with their catalog of their album, just popping in, all
that
digital.
Sounds expensive. I feel like those...
I don't know, man. There's all these nerdcore rappers, and they've got like all this crazy like digital stuff that you can buy at the merch table.
Yeah.
And then there's bands doing vinyl, and there's bands doing cassettes, and there's just so many ways, T-shirts and trucker hats and patches and singles. And I mean, that's, bands can make money that way. And then beyond that, you just try to like not get ripped off.
Yeah. It's a good tip.
It's really the goal.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. More like small bands need to think about that. Just trying to figure out different ways to monetize their work, I guess.
Yeah. First you're trying to monetize, then the overarching rule is just trying not to get completely screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So can you tell me where your headspace was while creating the album? Shifting back to that.
Dino, where was your headspace at?
Well, I mean, I think we as musicians and individuals, it's no secret that we're getting older. And so I think the things that we're writing about are no longer necessarily like, let's get fucked up and party tonight. Although we did write One More Drink.
Yeah, and there is a song called Fast, Fucked, and Furious that's actually exactly about that. But
that was
okay, never mind.
No. He's right in that we definitely have a few I mean, look, our band, like what we generally are good at is violence and sex and drugs and car crashes and fist fights and bottles over the head and bloodshed and teeth on the floor. That's our bread and butter. That's
all the classics. Yeah.
All the classics. So there's 2 or 3 songs on the record for sure that are just that, because like, you can't do a Cheetahs show without just some bloodshed.
Exactly.
But there's also like some power pop stuff and some kind of 80s sort of rocking stuff and some stuff that's almost more like Guns N' Roses-y sort of hard rock. So I don't know. I think if anything, our headspace was probably just that we finally felt like we didn't need to appease anybody. Like we didn't have really a label we had to answer to, and we didn't feel trapped in feeling like we have to be punk all the time.
Yeah.
Like made a good record.
Had fun making it, yeah.
And had fun making it.
Hell yeah.
For crying out loud.
So what band or artist influence you think you can hear the most on this record?
Well, it's funny because we have some special guests on the record, and in a way we were sort of hedging our bets with them, because we wrote a song. Dino came with this idea for this song that became The Rejected, and it basically sounded very much sort of a tribute to the band The Adolescents, and we're all big fans of The Adolescents, and we know those guys, and so we thought, rather than people saying, hey, you guys wrote an Adolescents type song, what if we get Rick Agnew from The Adolescents, and that way it's a tribute to the Adolescents, not
an homage, if you will.
And then same thing with Dramarama. We did one with John Easdale from Dramarama. We wrote a song that sort of was like a tip of the hat to Dramarama, and we knew John Easdale, and we were just like, well, let's just get him, and that way we're cool. What were you to say, Dino?
I was just saying an homage, if you will.
An homage, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was sort of I think if anything, our older records probably were more directly influenced by like New York and Detroit. We were always into that like New York CBGB's sort of Ramones sound, and and the Dead Boys, and then like the Detroit sound of the MC5 and the Stooges. And this record's probably a little more West Coast sounding for sure. And the punk rock songs are kind of a little bit more West Coast sounding punk. And there's definitely a bit of that Chicago Cheap Tricky sort of power pop with big guitars thing. So it all feels like it could all be in the same record collection now.
Yeah,
definitely.
It could be. That's where Dino and I have always sort of been friends and collaborators is just that like we both had these diverse record collections. That's why we started talking in his video store back in the day. You know, like we both liked punk rock, but we also loved new wave, and we also loved heavy metal, and we also loved, you know, different other weird stuff that doesn't fit into that at all, jazz and blues and, you know, stuff. And Dino at the time had this fascination for like female pop singers he would play me this stuff on some of our car rides. I'd be like, yeah, this is great. Oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. And you know, but like but we're music nerds, and we were
right.
So like we always sort of had that foundation of like, well, there's nothing we really can't do because like our record collections are so diverse. Why wouldn't our band be like that?
Yeah. We never bought into, I mean, as much as I love the Clash and bands like that, I never bought into the, you know, no more Beatles or Stones, that kind of mentality where it's like, if you're doing this, you can't like this. Mm-hmm. You know, we like, if something's good on whatever level it's good on, I'm going to tell you I like it. You know, I like Southern rock. I like, you know, sometimes I've seen Lady Gaga play piano and I think it's amazing. Yeah. So it's like, you know, if it's good, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we also both really love cheesy stuff too. So we're not afraid to be a little ridiculous sometimes. And some of there's a few tunes on the record, like you were saying with We Are the Ones, like where we were just like, fuck it, let's throw synthesizers on it and just go full bore 80s on one tune. Why not? You know, because like we you know, I like some of that sort of like cheesy synthesizer in songs, and like I don't know, we weren't afraid to just be a little weird sometimes or just amuse ourselves, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so you guys have been talking a lot about music, so I feel like I should ask, what is your favorite album? Because you guys apparently have such a wide like collection of knowledge music, so I'm very curious.
Gotta boil it down to one. Well, that's tough. I guess my go-to favorite album is probably Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
I'm a big Stones fan, and that album, it's like a double album from when they were really messed up on drugs. And, well, you know, a lot of bands did their best work when they were strung out on heroin, and certainly the Stones did. But also, it's a record where, like, there's, like, a bunch of hard rock on there, and then there's, like, country stuff, and there's blues stuff, and there's some folky stuff. So it covers a lot of ground. So if I was going to if I was a desert island and I had one album, I'm like, I want it to be kind of a diverse album. I don't want to just hear one song for 10 songs. Do you know what would yours be?
Ooh.
Favorite album. All time.
Yeah, that's a hard one to like boil it down to just one. Oh, you know what I'll go with? This will be weird, but it'll give me it'll give me some variety, but still stay pigeonholed, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Sure. The Live at the Roxy album.
Okay.
By who?
It has X-Ray Specs, the Buzzcocks.
Oh, it's a compilation album.
It was recorded live at this London club called the Roxy in the first few months of 1977, and it has like some of the classic punk bands on there. So I'm gonna go with that. Because that way I get a little bit of diversity.
Exactly, I told you, we are music nerds.
Mm-hmm. So I felt like I had to ask. So this one should go super, super fast. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words.
Both of you have to do it.
Yeah, both of you have to do it.
Wait, we have to do it simultaneously? Like,
I want to.
1, 2, 3, 4. No.
Wonderful.
Okay. 3 words. Dino, whichever one of us can think of 3 words first, feel free to go. I'm gonna say power pop punk.
Wonderful. Power pop punk.
Let's see. That was a good one, Frank.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say variety.
What?
That's one.
Variety show madness coming at you. What?
Variety. I will also go rock.
Wait a second. Hold on. Can I clarify something? Can he use the same words that I used? He
Well,
can't,
you took
right?
pop punk rock. What?
Well, yeah, no. Just to clarify, can he use the same words, or they have to be new words, right?
We don't have
See,
any rules.
Yeah, I usually
wait,
call
wait,
people
wait,
out if
one
it's
of
the
you
same
take
thing word for word.
Okay.
But
I'm
like,
gonna say I'm gonna call it like rock punk pop.
Great. That was very disappointing.
that's okay.
That
Sure,
was-
sure.
Okay.
That was very cheap.
Can I go
It
back to
was.
variety?
Yeah, so you're
go
really
back to
stuck on variety
We
here.
had something going on there. I mean, don't get me wrong. It sounded
Variety?
bad, but it's better than what you came up with. Variety what?
Variety, what?
Ver-
Yeah, you got two more.
Variety.
He's dug himself like so into a hole right
Satisfying.
Variety, satisfying.
It's variety, satisfying, and
now. No one's gonna buy this record.
Yeah, this isn't selling me on it.
What was the last?
it's an eclectic, satisfying variety.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Interesting.
I
No.
can get behind that.
You make us sound like Pledge.
It's
You make us sound like a carton of milk.
they're gonna think it's like a
satisfying
like a
variety.
a bunch of Broadway
Like the
show
milk.
tunes.
Yeah, what are we like? What a new brand of Fritos here? An eclectic.
Oh my god.
Jesus, Tina, that was
No,
awful.
Wow.
we're an eclectic, satisfying variety.
You guys might have caused the breakup of this band with that.
Oh,
I don't
goddamn.
even know if I can. I don't even know if I can like stomach this anymore.
Oof.
Hey, Dino, remember I told you to stop by the acoustic gig I'm doing tonight? Why don't you
Yes,
ixnay
don't.
on this Isnay, bro? Jesus.
So in that same
Sorry
train of
about
thought, unfortunately, is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through the record? You want
Yeah,
them-
like an eclectic
Eclectic,
yeah.
satisfying
Variety.
variety, really. I mean, I think Dino said it all. Next question.
Yeah, I'd like them to be satisfied
Mhm.
with the variety.
No, I mean, yes, all that really. It's not. Actually, can you edit that answer to this question and just post? Because actually, okay. So here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna solve. I'm a producer. Here's what you're gonna solve this.
Okay.
You're gonna take Dino out of the first question and then edit his answer to the second
Just copy
question.
and paste it. Yeah.
And then here's your cut point. And
Okay.
here, go. That was great, Dino. Terrific information. Next question.
Shane, are you gonna do that?
I mean, I guess.
No, I'm kidding. But
Please do.
no, I don't know. I mean, I think we want people to just rock. Honestly, our main thing is that, as you can tell, we generally want people to have fun. You know, our music is there to be entertainment and fun and hedonistic. You know, we want people to listen to it. And, you know, I think when we used to say, like, back when we were younger men, we'd be like, our music's for like fucking and fighting. And now I feel like
Wow.
now
You didn't
I
use
would-
that as your three words. It's two out of the three.
because we've matured. Because now I'd like to
Sure,
add to
yeah.
that. Now it is still about fucking and fighting, of course,
Mhm.
but it's also about love, guys.
Oh my
that's
God.
It's also
adorable.
about love.
Well,
It's
there's your
about
third
love.
one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but no, I didn't. No, that's better as a long form answer, not as sound bites. Because if I just said that, I would sound like an idiot, like Dino.
No.
Well, I would like to answer this question as well.
No, I think we're done with the show. Hey, all right, take it easy, guys. Been great.
Bye.
Click.
Oh my God.
No, go
No,
ahead.
I would say that I think for me with this album that it's okay to have melody with your hard driving punk and rock and everything. And I think that's sort of what I think people can get out of that.
All right.
Solid. All right. So,
There you go. Slowly digging yourself out of that hole, Dino.
oh my God. So where do you guys see the band in the next 5 years?
Breaking up.
Yeah, I mean after nights
I mean,
like this,
based on
this
my
is-
answers to
God.
the questions
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
I don't
I
think we're going to make it through the evening.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
think. Yeah, no, this is really the end right here. I think.
Tragic.
No, I mean if all goes well, I mean I got to be honest, man. I am dying to play a live show that has a full band, a full drum kit. Like we've done, Dino and I have been playing acoustically throughout this because funny thing is before COVID, we'd already been doing these acoustic shows around Long Beach because we both live around here and there's a lot of bars that aren't really set up to do like full-blown Streetwalkin Cheetahs live shows, but where like the two of us could go and we would sort of do these like country versions of our songs and like cover tunes and stuff, and just really for fun to play for our friends, and because there's a cool scene like that down here. But who knew that that was all preparation for COVID? Because then suddenly all you could do was like one or two people entertaining out on a patio, and now because we're in Long Beach, which is like a week ahead of, or 2 weeks ahead of LA generally. Like, so we were allowed to start doing shows indoors with limited capacity a couple weeks ago. But again, it's all still like small scale. Like, I haven't played with a drummer in well over a year. And we've got one of the best drummers in LA in our band, and I would love to play with him, Mr. Michael Sessa. But it's, you know, we just haven't been able to do that yet. So I hope in the future we can play live. And if not, I think either ways we'll likely make another record and see what happens.
Yeah, I think the band, you know, when you're young, you're filled with sort of all kinds of ambitions, you know, and you think you're gonna make it to that top tier. Now that we're older, we're just doing this for fun. So there's really no reason to ever stop.
And we have no ambition. Now we have no ambition. Absolutely no ambition whatsoever. We can barely show up to our own gigs.
You guys are on time for this.
But when we do, it's something pretty special.
You don't want to miss that.
No, you don't want to miss it.
So for the last couple of questions, we're actually shift away from music and go straight to Death Row.
Boom.
Yes.
So if
Death
you're on
Row Records, Tupac, you mean?
No. If you're on Death Row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
My last meal with a drink?
Yes.
Like, so you want a pairing?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Jesus. It's very intense. For me, there's a taco place in the valley that like is sort of like my secret like love. Like if I'm ever anywhere near there, I have to go and get tacos from there. And in any normal taco situation, I clearly love tacos. I get like 1 or 2 tacos, 3 maybe. This, I swear to God, I'll go like 6 tacos, please.
Exactly, go all out.
And 3 burritos to go, and I just eat the burritos over the next like 2 days. So like all I put in my system for like 2 days is just like meat.
Yeah.
It's really probably not good for me, and I can actually tell you that it's not good for me because I you know what I'm saying. but so that would be my last meal, and I guess if I was going to pair that with something, even though normally I would just get like a root beer there, I would go with a nice, really good tequila on ice because it's my last meal and it goes well with Mexican. So let's just say, for the sake of conversation, a Patron on ice.
All right.
With like Henry's Tacos, straight from North Hollywood. And Dino?
Yeah, and before I tell you my answer, can I just tell you about Henry's Tacos? We would, our guitar player, Art Jackson, lived in the Valley and lived kind of near Henry's Tacos. And so whenever we were loading up a van to go off on a tour, we'd all like get into the van and we'd be on the road for about an hour or something. And then you'd hear like in the back seat, you'd hear this. And of course, Frank ran and got a bunch of Henry's Tacos.
Of course.
And so everyone else in the van's hungry and Frank's just crunching away on his
and like 2 hours into the drive, they'd be like, "You guys think we should stop for food?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm fine. I think we're cool. Go for another couple hours, boys. Totally cool."
God.
But for my final meal, I would probably say I'm gonna die, right? I'm totally about to die. So I would probably
wait, hold on.
Well, you said I was gonna die. So I was just simulating.
Oh, okay, thank you.
My final meal would be what in England is called cottage pie, but what here we call it shepherd's pie.
Oh, okay.
I would have shepherd's pie and a Heineken and then kick off.
All right.
Solid. All right. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Like a video game world?
It could be a video game, movie, comic book series, book, whatever you want it to be.
For 1 week. I would definitely put myself in London in the early 70s.
Is that
Just
from a
because I
movie,
would've
or is
known-
that just
no? But they said
Yeah.
fictionalized.
yeah,
A fictional world?
Fictional.
Yeah.
Fictional.
yeah,
Oh.
like Harry Potter,
Yeah.
I'll go
for
to
example.
Narnia. I'll go to
Narnia.
What's
What the
that?
That's
hell?
good. That's good.
Narnia.
Yeah, I'll go to Narnia. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's the question, Dino. Do you know what my answer is going to be?
Based on the current obsession, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So I would go into the world of the first of the movie Trancers, not Trancers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, but Trancers
Lord,
1.
7?
There's 7
Yeah.
Trancers. Well, technically there's 8 because there's also a short film called Trancers 1.5, by the way. This is all on
That's too
Amazon
many.
Prime.
That's too many.
And Trancers stars a guy named Tim Thomerson, and he plays Jack Death, who's sort of like a private investigator who goes after Trancers, which are sort of like essentially vampires, like sort of like future-y zombie vampires. But he also time travels and he goes back to fight this guy, and he ends up in 1985. So I would go back to the world, the future world of Trancers 1, mainly so that I can hang out with Jack Death, aka Tim Thomerson. Look it up.
And you might remember Tim Thomerson as Gene from the hit television show Quark.
I do. They won't, but I do. Yeah. Are you talking to me? You must be talking to me then. Yeah.
I'm talking to anybody listening.
Yeah.
So that's and let me just make this clear. Like that's really like I've sort of stopped watching any other movies that aren't in the Trancers franchise, or another movie starring Tim Thomerson, or another movie produced or directed by Charles Band, because they're all sort of in the same universe. And that's just like who I am now. Like I'm a Trancers guy now. Like
You're a Trancers fan.
More than a fan though. It's
A stan.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm a Trancers stan. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I know exactly.
You made it your whole personality.
Exactly.
You could start Trancers
when you guys
Twitter.
are off,
Yeah,
when you
you
guys
should
are
join.
offline on your own. I've joined. If you don't think I've joined a whole bunch of Trancers and Full Moon and Empire Pictures like fan groups, you're crazy because I'm all over that shit.
Okay, good.
I was in an award show this weekend. I directed a documentary, and it was up for a Film Thread award. And I walked in coincidentally wearing a Jack Death Trancers t-shirt, because where else would you wear that shirt but
Exactly,
to a
yeah.
film festival? You know what I mean? Because I figured some film nerd would be like me, would be like, hey, Jack Death, cool.
That's a
And
nice
I
one.
walk in, and the guy from the award show, Chris Gore, goes, oh, Trancers t-shirt, that's cool. You know Charles Band's standing right over there. And I was like, what?
Aw.
Trancers director, producer Charles Band? And
good.
I ran over there, and I swear to God, this is exactly what Charles Band saw. Okay.
Okay.
Close your eyes for a second. You ready? This is what he saw. Oh my God, Charles Band. Oh my God, Trancers and Trancers 2 and Trancers 1.5, which is actually from the unreleased movie Pulse Pounders, and then Dungeon Master and Laser Blast. Oh my God, Laser Blast.
Oh my
And then he was literally like, calm down, son.
Yeah.
Someone get him the water. And then I
damn.
pitched him a crazy project idea that I want to do. That, guess what it involves? Trancers.
Of
Sure,
course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course it does. Well, I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person you've spoken to has said that it is the most important question.
Does it involve Trancers?
Unfortunately,
Sadly,
Don't worry,
no.
I'll screw it up.
I'm not answering, so there you go.
What is your favorite color?
Ooh.
Trancers.
Sure. All right.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm going Trancers 2.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
No,
I was a little worried.
Favorite color? Blue. I always like blue.
Okay, solid.
I know this is very cliche, but anybody that knows me, it's black.
All right, I respect
I don't
that.
wear
fair.
anything but black.
All right.
You guys want to guess what color dreamy Tim Thomerson's eyes are?
Blue.
Wow. I love that.
You have
love that for
really,
you.
you really have made it your entire personality, haven't you?
Yeah, he's gone over the edge.
Just a little
Don't worry,
bit.
me too. Me too. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Well, Trancers 1.
Oh my
Trancers 2, Trancers. No, Dino, good move.
Ooh.
Got the vinyl?
Yeah, Streetwalkin Cheetahs, one more drink, We're on Instagram at Streetwalkin Cheetahs, or Facebook at The Streetwalkin Cheetahs, or you can go to our Bandcamp, which is The Streetwalkin Cheetahs, and you can buy the record on vinyl, and you can buy all sorts of other cool, shirts and CDs and all sorts of fun stuff.
All right.
And
Awesome.
hopefully we'll be playing live again.
Hell
You
yeah.
can come see us play live.
That'd be
Look
sick.
out for that. All right. Well, thank you for now. This guy's been the Streetwalkin Cheetahs, and we're the Good Noise podcast.